Did you ever stop to think that Jesus never called himself a Christian? Did you ever stop to think that he never called any of his followers Christians? The word Christian didn't show up until the book of Acts, and it was coined in Antioch first. I wonder who coined the term Christian, because I don't think it was actually Christ followers who did that. I think that it was the secular, worldly, unsaved, or unbelieving population who decided to categorize and label those who followed Christ, and so they gave us the name Christians. So we are actually using a secular term to identify ourselves. The church today is experiencing an identity crisis. This is not the church, nor is this. Paul said, "Know ye not, ye are the temples of God?" The church is organic. We are the church. The church is truly experiencing an identity crisis because we've put on ourselves all these labels and all of these worldly terms. Now look, it's not that Christian is a bad word or Christianity, but it is and can be used in a negative way if we regard Christianity as the way to identify who belongs to Christ and who doesn't. And this is what I mean. Nowhere in the biblical text is it said that we must confess, "I am a Christian," in order to receive salvation. It doesn't say that anywhere. And yet, we will judge people based upon whether or not they profess to be a Christian, which again is a secular term, as to whether or not they are saved and believe in God. And I think it's something that points to a deeper problem within the church. We have confused and we have conflated way too many terms, way too many labels. We don't even know the difference between a church noun place and a church noun person. Jesus didn't die for a church building. Jesus didn't die for a denomination. What exactly did Christ die on the cross for? What did he come to earth bearing upon his shoulders? See, we forget these things. He didn't bear Christianity upon his shoulders, nor did he bear church form and formality, rules, or regulations. He did not bear ritual upon his shoulders. What did he bear on his shoulders? Do you know? Because the biblical text tells us. What is the government? The other thing is, what else did Christ say when he said, "Put the kingdom first, and all else will be added unto you"? Did he mean put the church first, as in church noun place? Did he mean to go to church as often as we possibly can and to do that first? Or is he talking about a kingdom as he laid it out with his disciples? These are all questions that Christians don't necessarily ask themselves. We just accept what's coming from the pulpit. But I would say today that we have confused the language and conflated way too many things. And I think it's time to get down to the bottom and the root of what does it mean to be part of a kingdom? And what is that kingdom that Christ died for? If you think you have an idea, let me know, because it's not an easy thing to put your finger on. Christ taught about it the whole time he was here on earth. What do you think that government was that he bore on his shoulders? Do you think it was a church? Do you think it was Christianity that he died for? Or do you think it was something way more precious, way more impossible without him? You know, I've heard it said before that God won't call us to do what we can do on our own. And if I wanted to, I could build a church noun place anywhere. I think it's time we rethink what we mean when we say church and stop brushing it off as, "Oh, of course I know that the church is the people who are saved." Like, I get it, but we shouldn't brush it off anymore, because we're putting the wrong things in the place of priority. Christ did not come to earth and die on a cross to start a religion. He didn't die on a cross to start a church of Christianity. And he certainly didn't die on the cross to start tens of thousands of denominations. And every church with a name over its door or a label over its movement, well, that's a denomination. And schism is the same word for denomination. Now, what I'm saying here is don't leave your church, and don't think that I'm saying churches around the world are a bad place to be. It's the wrong mechanism of delivery. And we need to talk about it. What did God say? I do not dwell in temples made by the hands of men. Like I said, I can go out here as long as I can get approved for the loan and build a church anywhere I want. We need to rethink this. And here's the other reason before I close why I think that we need to rethink this and why I feel it is ultimately important. This is not for everybody. I get it. There are going to be a lot of people offended. It's just inevitable. But it has to be taught, and here's why. We are entering, if not already, in the end times. I have a conviction that we are not always going to have that church on the corner to go to. And we need to get out of our routine and it's always been this way attitude towards the church. Because times are coming when the idea of what church is not going to be anything we have ever seen before in our lives or in history. And if we are too stuck in that typical modern contemporary church, and I'm talking about all churches that there are on the earth right now. I don't care how steeped into history or tradition that you are. They are not always going to be here. There is going to come a time, if you believe like I believe, where most of us are going to be raptured up. But I think even before then, the church on the corner is not going to be how we do church anymore. Whether it's because it becomes illegal, or whether it's scarce, or whether God just moves and we understand more about what He wants. I think right now, the church as it is not going to cut it. God is looking for more. What is it that unifies the body of Christ? It is not denominational doctrine. We all know this. Otherwise, we wouldn't have denominations. God is looking. He's looking for us to transcend all of these superfluous rules and man-made doctrines. We can't let it divide us as a body of Christ from God's purpose in building a kingdom. This ultimately is what we need to get down to. And I realize this is like a Gideon's quest, So what do you think? Let me know what you think. Let me know how you view church. Because I believe there are a lot of people out there who see things or are starting to see things the way I'm seeing them.